Good evening, everyone. I don't want to stand in between you and dinner, and so I want to encourage our servers to continue to move. But welcome to We Are Emily 2023. Thank you, Addison, for such a warm introduction. I didn't know that DC had a youth mayor until I met Addison, and I know and you know we're all going to be voting for Addison one day. Last year, at this dinner last year, I said that I was committed to making room for leaders of tomorrow to lead with us today, and Addison is an absolute manifestation of that. And so I want to thank her and her mom for their incredible work and commitment. I want to take a moment to appreciate the board of Emily's List, the board of directors of Emily's List, who support me and challenge me in doing this work. Thank you all. I cannot go without acknowledging the incredible staff of Emily's List. Whether they are supporting you as candidates, recruiting you, I also know that we would all be sitting in an empty room talking to each other, but for the staff of Emily's List, and so I want to publicly thank them. And how on fire was Madam Vice President tonight? Absolutely on fire. She is fearlessly leading with President Biden in what truly is the fight for the soul of our nation. Before I get to my remarks, I do want to take a moment, because we have been putting them through the paces tonight. I want to take a moment to thank the members of Unite Here Local 25. The servers, the cleaners, the parking attendants, all of them are helping to make tonight happen. Now I understand what the Vice President meant. There are two quick acknowledgments that I have to do before I go on. Friends, tonight we are gathered here with Democratic pro-choice leaders from all over the country. I called up this Democratic pro-choice woman who is serving in elected office and invited her to attend tonight's gala as the first opportunity that I think Emily's List had reached out to her. All the way from Nashville, State Senator Gloria Johnson, a part of the Tennessee 3, is joining us tonight. Let us thank her for her leadership, for her allyship, for her strong support of democratic values. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming, and it wouldn't be fitting for me if I didn't take a moment to just again appreciate the two women, Democratic pro-choice women, who make my life possible, my wife, Nanikki Lee, and our daughter, Nyla Grace. Friends, I want to move us along, but I know we have come together tonight on purpose and with purpose to celebrate the progress that we've made, yes, and to recommit to the work that lies ahead. I can think of no better way to acknowledge how far we've come than to recognize our guest of honor tonight, our forever Speaker, Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. Speaker Pelosi has fought to advance progressive policies. She has supported women's rights. She's done the work to uplift the most vulnerable among us. But Speaker Pelosi's legacy is not just about what she's accomplished, and Vice President Harris spoke to this. It really is also about what she represents. Her leadership is living proof that when we run and when we win, we really do change the world. Thank you, Speaker Pelosi, for changing the world for America's children. Tonight, we're also here because we've been called to lead during this defining moment in our nation's history. When I think of women whose words and deeds have shaped our history and moved our nation forward in times of uncertainty, yes, I do think of elected leaders like Speaker Pelosi. But I also consider the women who've carried our struggles and shared our stories with the written word. Authors like Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison, Audre Lorde, Bell Hooks. I recall these great women not simply because their great writings are currently being banned by MAGA extremists. No, I choose these great women because writers have always played a crucial role in advancing social justice. Good writers challenge the dominant narrative of our society, exposing deep-rooted injustices that too often have gone unseen. So just for a moment, Emily's List, I want to call your attention to one of the most influential writers of the Harlem Renaissance, Zora Neale Hurston. A groundbreaking, gifted writer and anthropologist, Zora Neale Hurston, she was ahead of her time. Her work was often rejected, questioned, and misunderstood by her contemporaries. I'm sure that sounds familiar to the folks who were in Ellen's basement 38 years ago. Yet in the face of adversity and criticism, Hurston stayed the course. In the crown jewel of her work, Their Eyes Were Watching God, once there she wrote, "There are years that ask questions and years that answer." This quote has been etched across my heart this year as we head into 2024. It really has served as a reminder that the journey toward justice will always require periods of uncertainty, times when we're forced to question who we are and where we're going. And so I'm here really filled with hope because the quote really also promises that uncertainty does not last forever. It gives us the impression that every season of questioning is eventually followed by seasons of answers. And tonight, I want to declare with conviction that we are the answer. This is not a new idea. It's not a new idea. It's been passed down from generation to generation and carried through every struggle towards justice. Pick any issue, and it is abundantly clear the fight for voting rights has been going on for centuries. Still, in every generation, the question of who is worthy of access to the ballot box has been answered by the people. Suffragettes who spoke out, foot soldiers who fought forward, resistors and persisters who have made it clear that voting is not a privilege, it is a sacred right, and we will defend that right at all costs. We are the answer. For too long, workers were exploited and forced to endure unfair working conditions without protections or rights. But through decades of sacrifice, struggle, and even bloodshed, organizers and activists answered the question of who is worthy of dignity, declaring that the power of the people is always more powerful than the people in power. We are the answer. Now, since the dawn of patriarchy, women have had their power stolen. Time and again, we have been told what we can and cannot do, what choices we can and cannot make about our lives and our futures. But time and again, we have come together across race and across place to respond to questions about our rights with clarity and resolve. Our bodies belong to us. Our freedoms are not up for debate. Our indigenous brothers and sisters have joined hands and hearts to answer questions about freedom and justice. Individuals with disabilities and their allies have answered questions about worth and inclusion with unity and unwavering determination. Each of these moments demonstrate the spirit of unity and the power of the people to shatter the walls of injustice and raise the banner of hope and equality. We are the answer. Now, I want to be clear, when I use the word we, I'm not just referring to a vague collective. I am talking about the coalition that truly reflects the United States. I'm talking about the we that has been required to win at the ballot box, the we that powered Secretary Clinton's race to break the glass ceiling, the we that have given money to support this organization and to strengthen the women who are running for office in the most perilous time in our nation. We, including men and women, young and old, rural and urban, Black and brown, indigenous and immigrant, cis and trans Americans. We are the answer. But make no mistake, Emily's List, that coalition has been and will continue to be led in large part by powerful women, dare I say, democratic, pro-choice women. Because friends, it's clear that there is no answer to the question of voting rights without Fannie Lou Hamer and the Combahee River Collective. There's no answer to the question of workers' rights without the women of Lowell Mill and Dorothy Bolden. There's no answer to LGBTQ+ rights or Stonewall without Marsha P. Johnson or Sylvia Rivera. There's no advancement of civil rights, human rights, immigrants' rights without Dolores Huerta, Yori Yokoyama, and Dorothy Height. No women's rights. No women's rights or reproductive rights without Maria Guadalupe Evangelina de Lopez and Sojourner Truth, because ain't I a woman, white, brown, or Black? Each of these fights are one and the same, friends. Women have been on the front line of freedom for a long time in this country and around the world. We are the answer. That's why I'm honored to wake up every day as the president of Emily's List, because like the women and generations who came before me, we too have endured many years of uncertainty, years of questions. The election of Donald Trump, the rise of hatred and division, a global pandemic, an economy struggling to bounce back for all, a violent insurrection, and a once-in-a-generation assault on reproductive rights. Still, we have emerged as the answer. We join together in coalition across races, genders, sexual orientations, and identities to build communities and to build a better future. We sent a blue wave of Democratic pro-choice women up and down the ballot into service in 2018 to beat back Trumpism. And when it came time to restore character and dignity to the White House, we mobilized, we organized, we made history in the midst of a global pandemic. We elected President Joe Biden, who is committed to protecting our reproductive rights, expanding health care, addressing systemic racism, and acting on the climate crisis. We elected Kamala Harris, the first woman, the first Black woman, the first South Asian woman as Vice President of the United States. As the highest serving woman in U.S. political history, she is the manifestation of the mission of Emily's List. And we must have her back. We are the answer. During the 2022 midterm elections, we faced uncertainty yet again. After a 40-year sustained campaign by Republicans across the country, Roe versus Wade met its demise. Once again, we found ourselves with questions. How long did we have until the next right was going to be taken away? How long would it be when the Supreme Court would be sold to the highest bidder? How long could our democracy hold up against one assault after another? And like Dr. King, who first posed the question, we knew that the answer was not long. And so here at Emily's List, we got busy. We grappled with those questions, but with our fundamental freedoms and rights on the line, we knew that we had to be the heroes of our own story. So we hit the road, and we responded with action. We brought our support to the front lines. States like Michigan, Colorado, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina. In each of these states, we found everyday people struggling with the very same questions. The overturning of Roe, the future of our daughters and our granddaughters, the freedoms and rights now in jeopardy. We talked about big problems, and on the ground, here is what I found. Yes, people are different, shocker. And we have common dreams. But they also wanted candidates who would fight for them, who would fight with them, who would fight for their families and their communities. Voters acknowledged that, yes, we came from different backgrounds and different religions and may even speak different languages, but regardless of our differences, we want to live in an America where the government doesn't interfere with people's personal decisions about their bodies and their families. We want to live in an America where the Supreme Court is not a partisan tool, but is a defender of our democracy and the Constitution. We want to live in an America where access to the ballot box is easy and equitable, regardless of race, age, gender, or the amount of money I have in my bank account. That shared desire unites us, and it gives us power. It gives us power to respond to the uncertainty with bold, decisive leaders and candidates who are ready to meet this moment. It is in response to the pain and confusion of our time that candidates endorsed by Emily's List have been winning up and down the ballot and doing the work to be the agents of change that voters actually want. Not only did all of our endorsed U.S. Senate incumbents win in 2022, but this year's budget process for the United States government is being led by Senator Patty Murray and Representative Rosa DeLauro. They ran, won, and are changing the world. Not only did we make history in the House by helping to elect 15 new pro-choice Democratic women, including 10 women of color, who are leading the most diverse Congress in history. Many of these women, like Dr. Yadira Caraveo, Representative Sidney Kamlager-Dove, or Representative Summer Lee, they ran and won in their state legislatures before running for Congress and had been previously endorsed and supported by Emily's List, a clear demonstration of the power of building the pipeline and the importance of state and local government. Not only did diverse women win at the federal level, Emily's List endorsed candidates were key to flipping 3 state legislatures around the country, key in delivering Democratic trifectas in Michigan and Minnesota. Democratic pro-choice women supported by Emily's List are not just running and winning, but they are leading. 70 women now lead Democratic legislative caucuses and chambers across the country. 14 states now have a record number of women serving in state legislatures, including the high point for the great state of California. These victories represent what's possible when we join together. Together, we can continue to change the face of American politics and show the next generation of leaders like Addison that the best outcomes happen when women of all walks are a part of the decision-making table and are in the halls of government. We are the answers we have been seeking. And so, friends, I will end as I began, with the words of Zora Neale Hurston. There are years that ask questions and years that answer. In a decade that began with the election of the first woman to help lead our nation as vice president, a decade that continued in 2022 where women ran and won at every level of government, it is clear that we must be strong and do the work to be the answer to the questions of our time. A time when fundamental rights are being snatched away by courts and legislatures across the country. A time when people don't feel safe shopping at malls or going to grocery stores. A time when children are living less free than their parents. Let these next years, again, be the years that we are the answer. Women have been the center of the movement for justice, the head and not the tail. Let us be the answer and win this decade by electing Democratic pro-choice women committed to changing the world. Let's be the answer and win this decade supporting the women who are leading these organizations. We have proven that even when there are questions and even when there is fear and doubt, it is this community, united and strong, that makes the difference. So friends, look, with conviction as our compass, compassion as our guiding light, and unity as our strength, may every call we make, every rally we organize, every dollar we donate, every race we run, every battle we win, let it serve as a reminder that we are a force to be reckoned with. That we are voices that must be heard. We are the majority, and Emily's List, we are the answer. Thank you so very, very much. Thank you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you all.